But the best is 60 Minutes. They changed her answer. Should I sue them? Should I sue? Should we sue 60 Minutes and CBS? No, think of it. They asked her a question on 60 Minutes, which is news. You know, these companies have to get licensed.
All right, this is hilarious. The Fox propaganda network was busted, caught red-handed doing for Trump what they claim CBS did for VP Harris during their 60 Minutes interview. Something for which Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened. 60 Minutes and CBS over. You can't write this stuff. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we got a couple of clips to look at here in a really fun article read. But to set the stage, I want to remind you of what happened. So, Vice President Harris sat down for an interview with 60 Minutes hosted by CBS. It's a 50-year tradition for presidential candidates of either party to do so. The vice presidential candidate of both parties, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, declined. They broke this 50-year tradition out of cowardice, terrified that they would be challenged and potentially fact-checked. Then when clips of the VP Harris 60 Minutes interview aired, Donald Trump and Fox News and MAGA Republicans said 60 Minutes deceptively edited Harris' interview in a way that violates some sort of FCC guidelines, the spirit of media enterprise, and even engaging in election interference. In so doing, Fox doesn't go quite that far, but they signal boost Donald Trump's complaint and have run story after story after story about the unethical shenanigans that CBS might have engaged in. Now, CBS has responded saying there was no deceitful editing. Obviously, segments are edited for concision. They did it for Trump when he did 60 Minutes interviews in the past. It's standard practice. No. Say Trump and MAGA Republicans. This is different, and it's election interference, and you should pay the consequences before we get to the gotcha here. I want to remind you of things that Trump has said recently about what he will do to 60 Minutes in CBS if he becomes president again.
But the best is 60 Minutes. They changed her answer. Should I sue them? Should I sue? Should we sue 60 Minutes and CBS? No, think of it. They asked her a question on 60 Minutes, which is news. You know, these companies have to get licensed. And in the licensing, it says they have to be honest. They gave her a question. She gave an answer that was from a loony bin. They said, we can't have that. They took the answer out in its entirety, threw it away, and they put another answer in. And I think it's the biggest scandal in broadcasting history. That's what I think. It's election interference fraud.
Okay, that's one example of something he said recently. Again, I just want to set the stage. I want you to understand what we're dealing with. Here's another example recently from Donald Trump.
And the way they protect, how about 60 Minutes, the way they protected Kamala? She gave an answer. Think of it. 60 Minutes, CBS, and they ought to lose their license and they ought to take it off the air. It's the biggest. How about this? She gives an answer.
So you hear him say they ought to lose their license. They ought to be taken off the air. This is election interference. Not the first time that Donald Trump has said such things about the media. Not the first time that Donald Trump has threatened the media. He's threatened 60 Minutes repeatedly over the past several weeks. It goes on and on. Just to give you a sample. Well, we learned that Fox News did the very same thing that they claim 60 Minutes did for VP Harris, except Fox did it for Trump. This is bombshell new reporting from Brian Stelter, a CNN Fox News edited Trump's rambling answers and false claims in barbershop interview. Full video shows the Fox News channel's recent segment about Donald Trump's surprise quote, "Visit to a barbershop in the Bronx resembled the campaign ad to the former president's re-election. Trump was seen taking questions and making small talk with Black and Hispanic barbershop customers and workers, some of whom were wearing Make Barbers Great Again shirts. The visit was part of Fox and Friends co-host Post Lawrence Jones' ongoing barbershop interview series. But the version of the visit shown on television was, to borrow a hairstyle metaphor, a crop cut. Fox edited out many of Trump's rambling comments and false claims. Participants had to repeatedly follow up when Trump meandered away from the original point of their questions. CNN reviewed a more complete video of the barbershop visit that was uploaded to Instagram on the day of Trump's appearance in the Bronx and compared it to segments that were shown on Fox and Friends. On Monday, Fox's edits omitted numerous Trump tangents and exaggerations. A striking decision, given Trump's recent attacks on CBS News magazine's 60 Minutes for editing an interview with his opponent Vice President VP Harris. Earlier this month, Trump's complaints about 60 Minutes center on an edit of Harris' comment about the relationship between Israel and the United States. He's charged that CBS manipulated the Harris interview to make her look better and demanded that CBS release the unedited transcript of the interview, which CBS has declined to do. Ironically, however, Fox edited several of Trump's recent appearances on the network, including his visit to the barbershop, and some of the edits certainly make him look better. They go through examples. The televised broadcast omitted Trump's comments about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. He told the barbershop customers that, quote, "They just dumped 50,000 people. 32,000 migrants from another country in Springfield, Ohio. They don't know what to do." The actual number of migrants in Springfield is far lower. According to the city's own data, the broadcast also left out Trump's gross exaggerations about crime in Aurora, Colorado. One of the most telling parts of the dialogue began when an audience member asked Trump about finding a way to eliminate federal taxes in the future. On Fox, Trump was shown immediately answering affirmatively, "There is a way." But that response from Trump actually came more than 7 minutes later, after Trump and Jones brought up other topics, including inheritances, Keystone Pipeline, Ronald Reagan Russia, and transgender sports players. Trump had to be nudged back on track several times by the unnamed audience member who kept circling back apologetically and said, "I wasn't able to finish my question," after he repeated his tax inquiry yet again. Trump said, "There is a way." But on Fox, it was stitched together as one seamless back and forth. Fox also cut out a number or some of the former president's insults, such as when he mocked the Wall Street Journal, a sister property of Fox. "Don't listen to the Wall Street jerks or Wall Street Journal. They just don't get it," he told the barbershop audience, and so on and so on and so on. Every accusation from these losers is a confession. It really is. And the last thing, I want to play you some other clips on this subject of not just a former president, but in this case, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson winking, suggesting that he is sympathetic to Donald Trump's threats against CBS, and this is conducted on Fox News by Laura Ingraham.
Your Louisiana constituents ask you about the president's cholesterol level. Oh, let's just talk about the good cholesterol versus the bad cholesterol, LDL versus H. This is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and it would be comical if it were not so serious, Laura. The broadcast news stations ought to be required to file paperwork now. They're giving in-kind contributions with all their airtime for the Kamala Harris campaign. They're trying to prop her up, and of course they're trying to diminish our nominee, Donald Trump.
So again, he's suggesting that there should be legal action taken against 60 Minutes on Fox. He's saying this. Maria Bomo spoke with FCC member I don't think he's the chairman. But FCC member Brandon Carr, who is a conservative, who is also very sympathetic. It seems to Donald Trump's complaints about CBS.
What do you want the FCC to do here in terms of CBS's local New York station, WCBS?
Yeah, my SEC colleague, Republican Commissioner Symington, has been very active on this. What he's pointed out is the news distortion rule is a very, very narrow rule at the FCC. In almost every case, it doesn't apply because it could get into sort of editorial decisions that are protected by the First Amendment. But what he said is that CBS should release the transcript. And the reason why this complaint is not frivolous is because the rules say, for instance, the example we've given is if you take an answer to a question that is a yes and you replace the answer of no from a different question, that's something that would potentially fall within the news distortion rule. My position is I agree with Catherine Herridge. She was a former CBS reporter. She has said that she thinks, just as a matter of journalistic practice, CBS should release the transcript. And I think that's right. I don't think this needs to be a federal case because I think CBS should release it, and then that would, inoculate entirely CBS.
So again, Brandon Carr, FCC member commissioner, he's one of the conservative ones, very sympathetic to this. So my point on Twitter was, well, since Donald Trump is repeatedly threatening CBS over 60 minutes and also demanding that they release the full footage and unedited transcript, maybe President Biden, the actual president, the most powerful man on earth, someone who actually has power over the government, a way that Trump doesn't, maybe he should threaten Fox News. Maybe he should come out and say, listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If Donald Trump is going to threaten CBS and you all are going to cheer about it, well, I'm just going to show you what that feels like. And so maybe he should threaten investigations and punitive actions into Fox News. I wonder how these very principled conservatives would feel. Perhaps President Biden should say, if you don't release the unedited footage and transcript, there will be legal actions taken against you. Maybe they would feel a certain type of way about it. I wonder actually if Fox News will release the unedited transcript now that they've been caught red-handed. I doubt it. The point of this is not because I actually believe President Biden should do this. I think it's gross for any government, Democrat or Republican, to do these sorts of things. I think should the government be able to influence the media? Of course, if the media violates the law, then yeah, the government should smack them down. But otherwise, even gross stuff like this, I don't think it's appropriate for presidents, former presidents, people trying to be president to threaten, opposition media. But the point is, pick a standard, conservatives, pick a standard. Because by your standard, the standard that your cult leader is creating, Fox News, and so much of right-wing media would also be ruthlessly crushed. So maybe you should pick a different standard. Maybe you shouldn't support a guy who's threatening the media the way uniquely Donald Trump does, or maybe you'll just continue to be hypocrites, as Fox often is. Their shamelessness is their superpower in the meantime. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments or just say, hi, thank you for your support, and until next time, I'll see you soon.